were you learning how to navigate through this stuff on your own, or did you have the courage to ask? Did you have a mentor?
Oh, yeah, no,
But I mean, did you have someone that you could literally go to
I
with a
am
fucking stupid question? Like,
super, super fortunate to have that a lot. Like, but I think it's also because in that degree, I always loved learning from anyone who would teach me, and probably sometimes annoying. But so when I was at DPR, Lee Gagney, he was a superintendent who had been around forever, like ever. And I would oddly just follow him around all the time. And sometimes he'd be like, get away. And I'll be like, nope, nope, I'm here to pick up whatever you're going to teach me.
mhm,
And then, like everywhere, I always like even Hector. I used to just suck
you
any
just shadow them
information
around.
I could to because I love that's another thing. I love learning and I love just seeing how like you can do things better. I do, but back to what you said where you like that was kind of my problems in my past was just taking on too much. Like, yeah, people will give you all the work you can take. And I used to believe like you want to come in and you want to kill the scene. Like you want to be a high achiever, but if you start a job at 110, you set the expectation at 110. So then everyone's like, "Well, why is she only working at 80 now because that's actually my standard, but I came in at 110." And then you're just burning yourself out to keep up the 110. Like does that like I'm not saying you should be a bad worker. I'm just saying you shouldn't overextend yourself to prove yourself when you're it's just a natural thing for someone to set a standard when they're used to what you came in at. And they're
I
not
th-
saying it's bad, but you just have to communicate that like, hey, this is overextending me, but
but that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, all the things that you're discussing and talking about, I don't really necessarily hear a lot that comes down to your gender or any of those things.
no,
It's just
no,
a
it's
part.
people.
It's just part of your journey of learning. When we are in our 20s, like because you have a piece of paper doesn't mean you know shit, right? It means it's time to learn, right? And
Yeah,
what you're
time to
gonna,
get actual experience.
yeah, you don't learn shit in in a classroom behind a book when it comes to construction. You're gonna have to, be on those sites. And I think that if you take those things as an opportunity to learn and you have the right leadership, then no criticism is too much. Like you want to be pounded. You like, I just want to be better. Like, don't I remember being around people. I'm like, cool, and they're like, hey, you did really good here. I'm like, cool. What did I do wrong? Because
Yeah.
I don't learn anything from the things I do right. I learn from the shit I do wrong. So point those things out, and then if you could, can you tell me how to fix them? So like I don't just need you to tell me my problems. I had like some suggestions on how to fix it, but I always looked at everything very simple. And like I said, I always manage or lead the way I want to be led. And that is this: before I would ever have to sit down and reprimand somebody or give them coaching or guidance, I would always ask myself, what would it take for this person to sit me down and tell me how messed up I am for me to thank them and not resent them? And then I would look at
That's
what
a good
that
approach.
dialogue looked like. What does that narrative look like? And normally for me, and you've known me long enough, it would be, hey, dipshit, you got your head up your ass? But see, you laugh, I laugh, because we're like, yeah, I do actually. Can you help me? Because that breaks the ice. It's not like, hey, don't know how to talk to you about this, but because we've been friends forever, but you may have your head up your ass. That's a completely different energy, right? But
Oh yeah.
if I like you enough, I'm gonna verbally slap you in the face with that. Be like, looks like you finally hit this level where you have this. Are you ready to get past that? Because I remember stumbling there too. Let's work on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what you need to fix? But you need mentors. And that's why I'm like, you went to college to be a teacher.
Yeah.
That's why I go back to, I mean, I've had so many conversations with you over the course of time where I don't pretend to know you like as good as all the other people in Phoenix and shit. But from what I see, you're a doer that likes to learn and like to do, but you, in your heart, it seems like you like to be taught, but it seems like you like to teach too. That's why I'm
Oh
like, you
yeah.
should lead teams and grow them.
No, I
And it doesn't have to be
absolutely
construction teams. There's tons of things to lead on, right? That's the beauty about
when I
leadership
was at DPR, my favorite season was intern season.
because you're just
Oh
plowing
man,
through
I couldn't
interns.
wait. And there was some amazing people. I had some, so I gravitated to a few girls, and gosh, they were just amazing. And seeing them grow. One was Alice Lang. I probably said her name wrong, but she was at DPR, and she just brilliant mind. But just watching, and I love observing people in the way they learn because, like, if you can sit back and see the way their brain is kind of working, you can kind of help them grow more efficiently because we're not the same. You and I would not do things the same. We're not going to think the same, and we're not going to, but that's why we balance each other out. And that's what's good. You need someone who's going to put you in
Overthink.
a better direction, who's going to call you out and say things. And I guess what I was trying to say, like, not the 100, like, you should always work your hardest at a job, but you should also be able to have someone call you out. Like if we were working together and I started out working every weekend and never took a day off, you're gonna be like, Kayla,
You're
I'm
gonna
your
burn. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you need to stop. You need to stop right now.
If
You
you
need to get it
care.
together.
If not, I'd be
Like,
like,
so
let her
that's the
go.
criticism and feedback that you always need to give. And you also, I guess from my point of that point was when I used to start jobs, I thought like I would only be able to prove myself if I was constantly like if I was never leaving the site and I was never doing that stuff. But you need to balance yourself out because again, you're gonna burn yourself out and you're no use to anybody.